Hey Kindred House, my name is Andy, and today we're going to continue explore Passion Week, where we're reflecting on the journey Jesus and his disciples took leading up to Easter Sunday. Today there's a couple of important moments we can follow along in Matthew 26, Mark 14, and Luke 22. So the first thing that was significant about this day in Passion Week was Jesus gets anointed by a woman with this expensive perfume, which the disciples kind of push back on and say that it wasn't a useful thing to do and it was too valuable. And Jesus actually turns that around and he honors it as a symbol of preparing for his coming burial. The second thing is Peter and John prepare the Passover meal that they're going to share. In that meal, Jesus leads them in the Lord's Supper, which is now the tradition that we practice called communion, where we're taking the bread that represents Jesus' broken body and the wine that represents the blood that was shed to save us, to cover sin. So after this meal, they go to Gethsemane, where Jesus has this really intense and emotional time of prayer with God. And when he returns to the disciples, he's met by this crowd of people who is led by Judas as an act of betrayal, where Jesus is arrested and he's sent to the Sanhedrin. And I think that kind of two important questions to ask from the scripture that are, one is coming back to that Lord's Supper and communion, where you think about tradition, and I think about how has tradition had an impact on your walk with God. It can be so easy to be caught up in the what, and I think it's good to ask the why and what impact does that make. The other one is, how does Judas' betrayal of Jesus, what does that say about God's character? If Jesus knew that was going to happen, what does that say about who God is? Thanks for watching, guys. Tune in next time for the continuation of Passion Week.